Just burning digits.
You're like, you're like, God damn it, just say fucking something. Hi everyone, this is Ray, or some of you might know me as Tiki With Ray, and today I am at the Devil's Reef in Tacoma, Washington. I am with Jason, the Fez monger.
Yes.
Of Fez-O-Rama.
Yes.
Thanks for coming on the show.
My pleasure, thank you.
Now, obviously, if you notice what Jason is wearing, he's wearing a fez. And for a guy in the tiki scene, there isn't a lot of options of what you can wear.
This is true.
So, how did you get into... Well, first of all, I guess I'm sure you had a love of fezzes to begin with before you started making your own, or how did it all come about?
So, I've always loved hats, all hats, and I collected hats as a kid, and I studied how to make hats. That was like one of the key things I was looking for when I went to college. I studied theater, and it was really excited that I'd learned millinery in the costume classes, so that was always my thing. A fez was one of those. I had a friend whose dad had a fez, probably picked up at a secondhand shop, and we thought it was a hilarious hat. And it was just, that was it. So for
hilarious, like literally.
Yeah, that's hilarious. I remember we had an unprom. I think the church put it on.
Unprom.
Yeah. So
what's
an
unprom?
It's like the anti-prom. So you don't get a date. And we went nuts. We dressed like complete buffoons. And one of the guys was wearing that fez.
Yeah.
We pretended we were wallflowers the entire night. Like it was just a bunch of friends getting together for a dance, basically, at the church. So the fez was always kind of there, and you saw it a lot in cartoons.
Yeah.
So Ren and Stimpy, and it was a great one. So I've always been aware of it. I remember, I noticed it on Happy Days. I noticed it. Huge Marx Brothers fan. So Groucho's wearing a fez, throughout Night in Casablanca. Yeah. So it was always a hat that I appreciated, and I wanted to figure out how to make them for my friends.
Okay.
But at the same time, I knew if I did a traditional blocked fez, that's like a stiffened felt over the woven reed, they would destroy it. So I needed to come up with a way that I could make a comfortable, casual fez that could take a beating.
Yeah.
Long story short, I'm recovering from cancer treatments. I had spent a year wearing hats to keep my bald head covered. And I wanted to make my friends Christmas presents, and I had figured out when I was in design school how I could do it.
Yeah.
And at this point, it's like I professional cancer patient for the year, so I was ready to spend some time making these. So I made 8 fezzes for Christmas in 98, 99, and gave them to my friends as a Christmas gift. And that was it was the Instant Acolyte Kit. It was the Cult of the Eye, the cult that finds you. Yeah. So it had like a candle and a matchbook and a fez was in the box. So they all opened them at the same time, and boom, awesome. We're an instant cult.
Yeah.
We'd get dressed up. We'd go out wearing our fezzes, and either we'd get accused of being the band. Are you guys playing tonight? Where do you guys play at? And the odd thing was, a few of us had been in bands, but collectively, we were not competent to be a band. Or where'd you get the hat? Do you make them? Do you sell them? And I was I make them for my friends. And a friend's birthday would come up, after that Christmas, and it'd be like, here's your Christmas present. So we just jumped other people into the cult.
Yeah.
And that's how it went for many years.
Okay.
2003, we went to Tiki Oasis 3. 3 of us were there, wearing our Cult of the Eye fezzes, having a great time. And we went because I was teaching full time at that time, and I just decided I needed to get out. Work all week and didn't go anywhere. So on weekends, we just once a month bug out, just find something random to do. So one weekend we went down to San Diego to find the local swing dancing, the Smooth Lindy people on the beach, and just went dancing. Wow. And stayed in San Diego for the weekend, and we went dancing. I was teaching my Photoshop Illustrator class in design school, and I was looking up artists that I remembered, and I remember Shag when he was doing the Cadillac Tramp album covers when I was in high school. Yeah. And it was kind of like, I wonder what he's up to now. And on his website, he had photographs of him at Tiki Oasis 2.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh my God, that looks like it would be a great weekend getaway. When does that happen? Oh, it's next month. Called up Maya and said, hey, you want to go out to Palm Springs for a tiki event? So 3 of us went out. Excuse me. 3 of us went out that year.
Yeah.
And we were just hanging out by the pool wearing fezzes, and people would stop and talk to us. And we had a great time. And I was like, it'd be really cool to bring artwork and show some design stuff. The next year we did a booth at the show, but we were just doing artwork.
Yeah.
And we were wearing fezzes because it was that cult group that collectively are artists. People were more interested in the fezzes that I was wearing than the shirts I had embroidered or the paintings that I had done.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what about the artwork that I made? So the next year I made like 3 dozen fezzes and brought them to Tiki Oasis and sold those out.
Yeah.
And that's where it started. I talked to my partner Joe and said, hey, you want to handle the money? We can build a website, and whatever we don't sell at Tiki Oasis in the summertime, we can put on the website so I can bring all new stuff next year.
Yeah.
And not really thinking about how the internet works. It very soon was, oh God, I have to make fezzes for the website because the website's low on fezzes. And it went from being a hobby, went from being an inside joke to a hobby to teaching 5 days a week and making fezzes all weekend long.
Wow.
To teaching 4 days a week, making fezzes 3 days a week. And it just kept shifting until I got to 2 days a week. And I taught for 2 days a week for years.
Wow.
And finally went, I don't want to be a teacher. Why am I doing this? And we've been full-time Fez-O-Rama I'm on my 4th year now.
That's awesome. Well, the thing I think about when it comes to fezzes, first of all, most fezzes, like before you started your company, and
right,
essentially doing Fez-O-Rama, say someone wants to buy a fez or get a fez, it seems to me you have 2 choices. Find one in an antique shop.
Right.
Or buy one at like Oriental Trading or something that's any of the fezzes I've ever seen are just real cheap.
Yeah. Well,
flimsy.
So here's the real challenge. Like you're right. It's the secondhand thing, which I've always been uncomfortable with because I'm not a Shriner, and I've had friends gift me Shriner fezzes, and it's like I won't wear that.
You're not a Shriner.
Earn that, so it's not mine. Yeah. So I've always been a little bit weird about that.
And there's two different ways I've heard about that, because there is the idea of like, well, I'm not a Shriner, so I'm not going to wear something that I didn't earn. But then there has been some people that are Shriners that they're kind of like, well, hey, I'm glad that someone at least has some appreciation for it, because let's be honest with you, I mean, you'll see them at every antique shop.
Yes.
Collecting dust.
There were thousands and thousands of them throughout the years.
But I would lean more to like, well, I'm not a Shriner, I'm not going to. What I would do is I'd probably collect them.
Place of honor, and so, and the real challenge, so just to give you a little bit of background historically. The fez, the traditional fez, would be a woven reed basket that's steam pressed into shape, and then the felt is stretched over that and on the same form, and then steam pressed into the reed.
Wow.
And then it's finished off. Obviously, that's a time demanding process, and it's not something. So modernization kind of ruined the fez. So now the options are, you have the soft ones, which they're not hardened.
No.
You could chemically stiffen them with sizing, which at least recently they've gotten into PVA glues for doing that. Because when I was doing hats, that was carcinogenic. So it was not something you really wanted to be working with.
No.
Or cardboard. And the cardboard ones are the most common ones you'll see.
That's what you see.
They'll have cardboard and they stretch the felt over the cardboard instead of the basket. We were in London, and a friend staying with some family friends.
Yeah.
And he, I told him what I did. And he's like, oh, I have to take you to the hat shop. So he takes us to the hat shop in London, right behind Buckingham Palace. Yeah. And he's like, this is where the royalty get their fezzes. And he showed me online, a photograph. They have a fez in the window. And I looked at it and I went, that's cardboard. And he's like, no. It's like $500. Like, this is a ridiculously fancy place. I'm like, I guarantee we go down there, that'll be a cardboard fez. He took me down there, and it's a gorgeous hat. I mean, they have amazing hats.
Yeah.
But that fez in the window was felt stretched over cardboard.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah. So there are not that many traditional fez makers anymore. So you have the Masonic suppliers who are, which you can order from, I want to say D-Turn is the company. But you're looking at spending a minimum of $150, $200 for just a plain fez. So yeah, it's one of those things where there's not a lot of options.
No.
So when I started, I wanted to do something silly, fun, bring it a little bit more into tiki, since it's already there in tiki. People were wearing fezzes for decades.
When it comes to like tiki, or even like if you want it as a guy wanting to dress retro,
right?
A fez is an instant option.
Yeah.
Because we don't really have a lot of choices. But one thing I've noticed is there's a lot of women wearing your fezzes. You have two different types. Is there a name for that type?
Because
you have one that's more like
So what we have, I have 3 styles that we sell.
Can you explain what they are?
Yeah. So I have this is what I call a low profile. So I have the original ones will be another 1.25 inches taller than this. Mm-hmm. Looks like a traditional, what you remember a traditional Shriner's fez being. If you're in Turkey 150 years ago getting your fez made, they would have like 37 different forms, and it wasn't just your circumference, it was also different heights, because they're balancing your face. So there's no, like, when you get into the modernization with like the Shriners, they're all the same height, because they're like, it's a hat.
Why did the Shriners start wearing fezzes?
Exotica. I mean, before the Exotica movement, but it's the exotic. So they wanted to be mysterious.
It's mysterious, okay.
So, they're part of the Masonic order. And there's a lot of that kind of exotica, Egyptology, Moorish, Muslim, like a lot of that exotic stuff. So the scimitars and stars and all. So it's that. So the Shriners are a subset in, that was their thing that they kind of glommed to. Yeah. They're famous because they do a lot of charity work. So they're notorious for their parades with their mini cars and their dress up. So the tradition is you wear your fez on official business only, and those parades and the charity work were of course official business. So they dressed up, and that's kind of, I think, what really burned them into people's minds was the spectacle of the parades.
One last question.
Yes.
How does it feel to single-handedly to bring back fez in vogue? Because you're doing it.
Yeah, you are. That is
every time I
weird.
See someone out and about with a fez, like not a Shriner's fez, it's yours. It's one of yours.
We've been doing it for a long time, and I make it. The weirdest thing for me is realizing that I have made easily over 10,000 fezzes.
Wow.
And the thing is, we make them. That's the one thing that people don't. That's the most common misconception about Fez-O-Rama. Is there's no factory.
No.
It is my wife Maya and I working full time. Our friend Ruth comes in 2 days a week, who's another amazing costume designer, old costuming friend of mine, comes in and she sews with us. So there's, Joe runs business stuff, behind the scenes, takes care of shipping when we're on the road. So the company is made up of 3 people.
That's awesome.
And then we have a few people who come in and help out, like either come in and help with it at a con, or Ruth comes in and sews like 2 days a week with us whenever she can. That's the entire business. So everything we, all the fezzes we sell, we're making.
So every fez is handmade, literally.
Yeah. We have the embroidery machines in shop. I design all the graphics. I engineer the embroideries. Maya and I run the embroidery machines while we're sewing, and we spend our days making fezzes.
That's awesome. If someone is interested in getting a fez, where should they go?
Fezzorama.com.
Fezzorama.com.
Yeah. And we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram. You can find me, my personal accounts are Fezmonger, so the easy way to find me on Twitter or Instagram. And I'm usually posting to my personal accounts more than I'm posting to the Fez-O-Rama pages.
Thank you for coming on the show.
My pleasure. It's an honor.
Aloha, mahalo, and all that other crap.
Cheers. Just as many guys are getting chapeaus as fezzes, and a lot of women will get fezzes because they feel it. It looks better on them. Basically, it's the shape of your head. If you got a long, narrow head, the chapeau looks a lot better.
So, if you have a long, narrow head, maybe you might want to think about getting a chapeau. Hey gang, this is Tiki with Ray, and I just want to say thank you very much for checking out my video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you want to see more episodes, click on the subscribe button. And if you liked the video, give it a like. That would mean a lot to me. And if you have any comments or suggestions, please leave a comment in the comment section below.